In this video, I'm going to walk you through Module 11, End of Module Project 1. The first thing you need to do is download the start file and change the end of the file name from a 1 to a 2. Also, you have to make sure macros are enabled. So this is my start file. If you get this yellow bar across the top, we're going to go ahead and enable the macros, which is what we want to do. The next thing, if you get this yellow bar that says enable content, go ahead and enable the content. Once you do that, you do not need to do this step where it says make your file macro enabled. This is only for if you don't get those yellow pop-ups across the top of the ribbon. This is how you would enable the macros. So as long as you've got the yellow ribbons across the top, you enabled everything, you should be good to go. So let's make sure, also make sure to save as I mentioned, and change that file extension. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And you are ready to go. Now, you also need to download a support file, which is an image. You do not need to open that file. You're just going to let that save to your downloads folder on your computer or save it onto a flash drive, wherever you want to keep it for you to access later. And then lastly, make sure B6 does not, or you want it to display your name. And if B6 does not display your name, make sure you delete the file from your computer, download it, and save a new copy. Now, one more thing that's not included in here. Actually, let's back up. You need to turn on the developer tab. So make sure you have the developer tab available to you. It tells you how to get there. You just come up to a gray area on the ribbon, right click, well, not there, right click, let's try the far right. There we go. You want to get to where you see customize the ribbon. Turn that on, and then developer is going to be in the right side in the right column. You're just going to check that box to turn on the developer tab, say okay, and you are ready to go. So make sure that's all ready. Also, one last thing I want you to know before you start this project is that with all the Microsoft changes that they are constantly making, because now they've gone to online monthly subscription, and they're making it so you can't do a lot with downloading their software anymore. There have been some issues the last year or so with the grader grading things correctly. It'll grade correctly for some students and not for others. And so if you run into any issues, particularly in this module with the macros, you know you did it right, or you may get some pop-up that's not letting you work it correctly, make sure you reach out to me and let me know, and I'm going to do an override of your grade. There are some issues they are aware of. They're trying to figure out between the new upgrade to Windows 11 and Microsoft and all the different browsers how to fix some of these reoccurring issues with the grader not reading things correctly. So as always, make sure you reach out to me. Okay, let's start with step 1. So Leela is the office manager at Menlo Park Eye Center and Optometry Clinic. And she uses an Excel workbook to track patient responses to a survey. And she asks our help in automating the workbook and creating an effective user interface. So we're going to go to the patient survey worksheet, which is a form, and we're going to make some changes to that. So the first thing we're going to do is unprotect the worksheet using the password Menlo20. So go to our workbook. We're going to go to patient, let me make sure I read that right, patient survey. Okay, patient survey. Right now we can't do anything to it. It's locked to keep people from accidentally changing things. So we are going to right click on this tab at the bottom. We are going to unprotect the sheet, and the password is Menlo20. Hit enter, and that's going to unlock that worksheet for you. Now, very similar to what we had in our previous module, Module 10, we have another form that's been built, and we are going to add some things, and we're going to tweak some things using the Developer tab. So we've done this part in step 1. We've turned off the password. Now we're on to step 2. In step 2, the workbook should look the same as the other files that Menlo Park uses. Leela asks us to change the colors and fonts and save them as a theme so it can be easily applied to other workbooks. Now, I want you to know this isn't just a one and done kind of step. We have to do this multiple times. So the first thing we're going to do is change the theme fonts to Arial as the heading font and Callisto MT as the body font. So let's go back here. We're going to go to the page layout tab. Then we're going to be working over here on the left. So we're going to start in the themes, working with the fonts. And the first thing we're going to change is to the Arial as the heading font. So let's go to fonts. And we're going to go down to customize fonts. And then for the heading font, we want that to be Arial. And the next one was Callisto MT. So I'm just going to type in that Callisto. There we go, Callisto MT. And then we're going to give this the name of Menlo as this, as this name for the font theme. So M-E-N-L-O with a capital M. And then we're going to save that. And it's going to add that to our list of fonts. So now if you look in here, you should have a Menlo custom font theme at the top. Okay, the next one, so let's highlight that and take that out. We've done that first step. Let's do the next one. So then we're going to customize the theme colors to use dark purple. Background 2 is the hyperlink color. So we're going to come back here, go up to, we're going to go to colors, this time in themes, customize colors. And then down here for hyperlink, we want to change that to the dark purple background 2. So we're going to choose hyperlink, click the drop down, and we're going to look for dark purple accent 2. Where is that? I think it is. Oop. There we go. Third color in the first row. So dark purple. Let's just make sure we've got that right. Dark purple background 2 for the hyperlink. Then we're going to call this one Menlo as well. And then go ahead and save that. And then we've saved, there were 2 times that we did this. So we had font where we changed the font, called it Menlo. Then we did the color for the hyperlink, and we called that Menlo as well. Okay, well now we're on to step 3. So in step 3, Leela asks us to insert a missing formula in the top part of the form. In D8, we're going to enter a formula without a function that displays the patient's phone number from the cell named phone in G24. So we're going to come over here and we are going to go down. Actually, let's just go back a little bit. So let's go to D8. It's where we really want to be. So looking here at the column for D, you're going to see zeros in there. If you click on there, you're going to see that we have a name that's been given to this particular cell. Well, actually, it's not given to this cell. These cells down here have been named. So that's why when we equal city, which is right here, that comes back and says this is the name of the cell and it's called city. So we want to do the same thing for the phone. So to do the phone, we're going to do an equals. And we're going to type in phone to where we get this little grid. And this is where we know this is what a cell name has been given. So this particular cell is going to reference down here to G24, which is the cell phone number that's, or not the cell phone number, but it's a phone number that's going to populate here once we move on this form. But we want this to show the name of this particular cell. And so we're going to double click that to where it says equals phone, which points to cell G24, just like the instructions. And then we're going to hit enter, and now it should have a 0. So once we start populating this row 24 with the form, these zeros are going to go away and everything is going to look different. Okay, so that is step 3. In step 4, Leela asks us to add a 4th option to which eye doctor do you usually see? Let's go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so in E14, we're going to insert an option button, form control. This is why we need the developer tab open. And then we're going to edit the button to use the I don't know to replace the placeholder text. So let's go to E14. So back here, right here in E14, right in this area, we're going to go to the developer tab, and then we are going to add a new button, and we are going to insert the option button form control. So insert option button. So we have form controls right here, and then the option button is going to be this one on the far right on the first row that looks like a little radio circle button. We're going to go ahead and click that. We're going to come down here with our mouse, see the plus sign attached to our cursor. We're going to come down and we're just going to click and drag just like that. It's going to be off aligned, and that's okay. We're going to fix that. So now we have this option, new option button. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is edit the option button text to use I don't know to replace the placeholder text. So right now it says option. We're going to delete that out right here. And if you need to, you can expand this a little bit. And then we are going to call this I don't know. So I don't know. Just like that. Oops, and don't do like me. And I misspelled. So to get back to editing this, you have to get these editing dots all the way around. Sometimes you have to right click to do that. And let me fix this. I don't, K-N-O-W. Make sure I have it spelled exactly as it does. Yep, I don't know. Okay, so now we've got I don't know in there, but you see it's a little bit off, and that's okay. We're going to fix that. So we've got that one in here. Now we're going to format the new button to use 3D shading and to link to the absolute cell reference of I-25. So let's go back in here. We are going to right click on this. I don't know. We are going to go down to format control, sorry. And then we are going to cell linked is going to be I-25. So it's already in there for me. If you don't have it, make sure it says $I, $5, which is absolute cell reference. And then we want to check the box for 3D shading. So click the box for 3D shading. Then we're going to say OK. And so now it has the same 3D shading as the other options. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is align the new option button with the left side of the Dr. Kim Vanya option button. So first thing we're going to do is align left with the Dr. Cam Vanya, I said that wrong, button. So let's go back to our form. We're going to align these two. So right now I have I don't know selected. I'm going to hold Control, and then I'm going to right click on Dr. Kim so that we have both of them selected. And then we're going to go up to the ribbon, and then we're going to align those two. To align them, whoops, I lost the selection. So right click on I don't know. There we go. You want to see the selection dots going around all of them. Then to align them, we are going to come up to the ribbon and click on the Shape Format tab that only appears when we are doing this step. And we're going to go to the right in the Arrange group. We're going to align. And for this particular one, we are going to align, make sure I read this right. We're going to align left first. So back to our file. We're going to align and then align left. So that's going to bring that over. And then the next thing it wants us to do is we are going to align with the top of the Dr. Philippe Cruz button. So we're going to unselect these, and then we're going to select the I don't know again by right clicking on it. And then we are going to do Control on your keyboard, and we're going to choose Dr. Philippe Cruz. So both are selected. And then we are going to top align with the Philippe Cruz option button. So we're going to go up, Shape Format, Align, and then Align Top, which brought that up a little bit. And so now we're aligned left with Dr. Cam, and then we are aligned top with Dr. Philippe. Okay, so that is step 4. Doing great. Okay, step 5. Leela wants to arrange the other option buttons more attractively on the form. we're going to distribute the 4 option buttons in the How Do You Rate Your Visit to Menlo Park Ice Center horizontally. So we're going to come back here. And we've got one way out here to the right. And so we're going to, this may look different for you. I found this particular semester that some of you, it came over here correctly. When we horizontally aligned, it left this over the edge and the grader still marked it wrong. So what I want to do is something that's not in the instructions first. So I'm going to right click on needs improvement, and I am going to bring this using my 4-way arrow back into this box right here. It looks like this. So when we align it, it's not over this edge, and the grader doesn't have issues with that. Okay, so now we want to, we're gonna line these horizontally. So we're just gonna right click, just like we have before, hold the control key down on a keyboard, right click again, right click again, right click again. You can click off of there. As long as we have 4 selected, we're good. So now we're gonna go up to shape format again. We're gonna go to align, and then we're gonna distribute horizontally. Okay, now because I played with this, I'm going to change this a little bit where I'm going to align them. Let's align them top just to make sure that they are all even, because we had to play with this one a little bit and I don't have a steady hand and it could have been just slightly off. So now we've got them all distributed evenly within this box. Now, if you have any issues with the grader, please reach out to me, because this is one of the ones that gets sticky sometimes, and I sometimes have to override the grade. Okay, so that is step 5. Now we're on to step 6. In step 6, Leela asked us to format the group box containing the rating options to match the doctor group box. So we're going to edit the group box text to use rating as the placeholder text. So let's go back here, and we're going to come over here to the right in the box area we were just in, and it's called group box 19, which is what happened when it was created. So we're going to delete that. So take out the text group box 19 using your delete key on your keyboard, and then we're going to type in the word rating, because that's what we're actually doing. Okay, once you're done, you can click off of that and you should see rating up here in the top of this box. Now, the last thing we're going to do is format the group box to use 3D shading. So let's go back. We're going to click on this box, if I can, to get my 4-way arrow here. Wow, it's really, there we go. It's really picky. So you're going to select this whole box. We're going to right click on it. We are going to format control, and then we're going to click the 3D shading, and then we're going to turn that on, and now we have 3D shading around this box, just like we do this box on the left. All right, that's step 6. Step 7, Leela needs to add another checkbox to the form. In H16, we're going to insert what we call a checkbox format control. So let's do that first. So let's go to H16 down here in this, right here next to these other checkboxes. We are going to go to the Developer tab, Insert, and then we're going to do the third one in, which is the checkbox form control. Let's make sure I read that right. Yep, checkbox form control. So insert, checkbox form control. You're going to get your plus sign, and you're going to come down and you're just going to drag that right in that area, just like that. And now we have checkbox 25, or you might have a different number. So in there, we are going to, we've got that step done. We're going to edit the checkbox to use the text TV. So checkbox 25, we're going to delete that and we're going to call this TV. And then I'm going to click off of that just to make sure it looks good. Okay, and then that's done. Then we're going to format the new checkbox link and link it to absolute cell reference of N24 and then turn on the 3D shading. So come back to this text box. We don't want to check it on, so I'll make sure it's checked off. Right click on it. We're going to go down to Format Control. We're going to do the cell link, and it's going to be absolute cell reference of N24. So $N $24. Then we're going to come down, check the 3D shading, and then we're going to say okay. Okay, that's the next step. Now the last thing we have to do is to position the TV box so that it aligns with the top of the social media checkbox to its left. So back to our worksheet, we are going to select the TV. Don't turn the checkbox on, but just select this content control. Okay, now we've got the dots around it. We're going to hold control down and we're going to choose social media by right clicking. And so if you click away from them, you should have social media box control checked or on, and the TV one on, and you know it's being selected because it has the dots all the way around it. So then it wants us to align it with the top. So we're going to go back. We're going to go to shape format. We're going to go to the arrange group on the right. We're going to click align, and then we're going to say top. And that should have brought the TV box up. All right, now we can see that they're all straight and across. All right, so that's step 7. Down to step 8. Leela wants to create a macro in the Visual Basic named Clear Data that clears the form for a new patient. She also wants users to click a button to run a macro. In the range H18 to H19, we're going to insert a button, form control, resize the new button, and change the height. Okay, so we're going to add a button. So we're going to go to H18 and 19. Then we're going to insert a button form control. So H18 to 19, right down here by the save. So right here. Okay. And, you can select it. It doesn't matter. It's just going to be in this area. So we're going to go to the developer tab. We're going to go to insert. Then we are going to go to the first one, which is a button form control. The first one in the row, it looks like a rectangle. Click on that. We're going to come down, use our plus sign. We're going to click and drag a little bit to the right, kind of eyeball a button, just like that. Okay, so now we have assigned macro. So we have to read a little bit ahead in the instructions. It wants us to assign that macro. Where is it at? Resize the button, change the font, edit the text, clear, position the button, and then assign is clear at the end. This is the thing, it's a little bit out of order. So we're going to assign the clear data macro. So choose the clear data macro because it came up with the assign macro button for us automatically. And then we're going to click OK. And then we're done. So now we have button 26. So now we need to go back to the a little further in the instructions. And now we're going to resize the button. So we're going to resize the button to a height of 0.3 inches and a width of 1. So with this button selected, we're going to come up to shape format. And then the height is over here on the right. So in the size gallery, we're going to say 0.3. And then the other one was 1 inch. So 1 whole inch. Once you click off, we should have a button that's very similar to the one that is next to it. Okay, so now we've got that done. And now we're going to change the font of the button to Arial 11 point regular. So back here to our button, I'm just going to select the font in that box, if it'll let me. Just like that. Oops, I missed one. Okay, we're going to go up to the Home tab. We're going to go to the Font Gallery, and then we're going to change this to short-term memory issues here. Oh, sorry, I was in the next step. Arial 11 point. Okay, so we're going to go to Arial, change it from Callisto to Arial, make sure it says 11 point, and now it should match the button to the left. Okay, so we've got that next step. And then we've got edit the button text to use clear to replace the placeholder text. So we've got button 26. If you right click on it, we're going to edit the text this time, or you could just click on it until you got it to be editable, either one. There's multiple ways to do it. And then we are going to call this clear. And then click off our button. And so now we have a save button and a clear button. So we've got the clear that. And then the last little piece is position the clear button to align with the top and the bottom of the save button on its left. So let's do the top first. So we're going to right click on this button, and then we're going to hold our control key and right click on the save button. And then we're going to go up to shape format, align, and top. So we brought clear up. And then the last part was to, we're going to align with the bottom. So we did the top. Now we're going to align with the bottom. So now we're going to go shape format, align, and now bottom. And now they should balance out. So I know it sounds a little silly because it didn't change, or that we could see, but we top aligned, then we bottom aligned, and that balanced those out and brought those together, even on a super small scale that we couldn't see. Okay, so that is step 8. Step 9, Leela creates a macro named save data and assigned it to the save button. However, the macro contains an error and she wants us to fix it. So the macro should contain the entries of A24 to N24. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here to the ribbon. We're going to go to the developer tab. And on the left, we have our macros. Go ahead and click on our macros. And then we have the clear data button and we have the save data button. We are going to edit the save data button. So click on save data and then we're going to edit it. And this is our macro or our visual basic VBA is what we call it for macros. And we're going to make a correction right here in this first line in black text. So the range here is A24 to H24, but it should have been A24 to N24. So we're going to come right in here, this first line of black text, we're going to back out that H, put in an N, then we're going to come up to the disk and save it. And then we're going to close out that window just like that. So we fixed the save button macro. Okay, so we've done all this and then we save the macro and closed out. Okay, that was the first part of step 9. So then we're going to use the enter data button to enter the patient information from this table. Now, after we do that, then we have to select Dr. Philippe Cruz and the rating. So I miss this a lot of the times because there's a lot of things happening in here. But we're going to first start with enter the data in table 1. So let's do that. I'm going to make that yellow. So we've got who, how, and address, and all this information. So let's go back to our form. We are going to click the enter data button and it's going to drop this data down here in this line. So we're going to enter data, and for me it popped up on another screen, so I have to bring it back over here where you can see it. Okay, last name is WOO, and then I apologize, it keeps popping up on my other screen. First name is How, HAO. Then address is 25 River Way. And you can hit enter or you can click OK, either one. City is Woodside. And then state is California, or CA is abbreviation. We're going to say OK. Then we have postal code, which is 94027. And then we have a phone number, which is 650-555-3520. Now make sure you put this in exactly as it is in the instructions, or the grader won't be able to read it and it'll mark you wrong. So that's the phone number. Then we have last piece, which is the address, your email address, which is HWOO@EXAMPLE.net, and click OK. And so now we've done How, Woo's, information using the enter data button. It populated everything here, populated his name up here on the form. And then the last step of this piece is that we have to come back up and we want to select Dr. Philippe Cruz as the doctor and excellent as the rating. So we're going to click Dr. Philippe Cruz and make sure you don't have any others selected. And then we're going to do excellent. Now, see this, how the needs improvements on? We don't want that on because the grader is going to mark it wrong. So let me go to format control and I'm going to right click on the format control and I'm going to uncheck that box because it just got hung up. So we only want the excellent box selected. So let me reiterate, if you have multiple selected, all you have to do is right click on the box that needs unchecked, go to format control, and then you're going to uncheck the box in the format control window. Okay, so we have Wu Hao, Dr. Philippe Cruz, excellent. And then was there anything else? Select the other patient. Here we go. Here's another piece, other patient and web search boxes. So let me make that. Let's do that in gray. Other patient and web. So we're going to go back. We're going to come down here and we've got web checked, but we're going to do other patient as well. These two should be blank, and then that's it for his form. Good, and then we're going to click save button, the save button to run the save data macro. So we're going to come back, and then we're going to click save, which I've already done, I believe. Nope, we entered the data. Yep, we entered the data, and then we saved it. Sorry, had to think about that. So we entered the data. It came down here on line 24. Then we saved it, and it should be saved. Okay. So now we are done with step 10 or step 9. We're down to step 10. So we're going to unhide a sheet that we can't see right now, which is called patient information. So if you come down here on any of these tabs, we're going to right click and we're going to unhide. And this is where we see the sheets that are hidden from us. So we have patient information. We're going to say, okay. And you're going to see this is where this information was saved. So if you did everything correctly on the forms sheet or the forms worksheet, it should have populated Hao Wu into this hidden worksheet. Okay, so now we are going to, so we unhid it and we can see his information in there. And then we are going to format it to make it look more eye-catching, and we're going to add it to the worksheet background. And so we are not, this is what we are not doing because this gets students a lot of time. If you go to insert and you insert this support file, it's going to drop a picture in here, but that is not what we are doing. We are doing a background. So we are going to come over here to the page layout tab, and we're working in the page setup, and then we are doing a background. So we're adding an image to the background. We are not using the insert button to insert just a singular image in a cell. That's where I want to make sure you don't get stuck because that gets students sometimes. So we're going to come up here, page layout, click on the background, and then we're going to search from a file, and I'm going to go to my downloads on my computer. And I'm going to find that logo from our support file. I'm going to insert that. And this is what you should see. It's a lot happening, but you should see this repeat of this logo going across all the background of this worksheet. Okay. And what that does, I said it's kind of busy. It's on purpose because we don't want this to be super readable. If we had it on our screen, because of FERPA, information is confidential, right? And so we don't want this to see how hard it is to read this. That was the whole purpose of this step. And so then we're going to rehide that sheet. So come back down, right click on patient information. We're going to hide that sheet. And now we are on to the last steps. Okay, so last couple steps, we're going to go to the patient's visits worksheet. And Leela wants to provide a graphical way to compare patient visits by doctor, and she wants to make the stacked column chart more attractive and easier to interpret. So we are going to select the range C6 to F9 and then use the quick analysis tool to add spark lines. So let's come here. So C6 to F9. So I'm going to choose C6 to F9, just like this. Now here's our quick analysis tool button. We're going to click on that. We're going to come over to the right and we're going to add spark lines, and we are going to add line spark lines. So from here, we are going to do that again. Click quick analysis tool, spark lines, the line ones. And then, hold on, didn't do something. It should have, normally it just adds them to G6 to G9, but it did not. So let's do that again. So let's go here, spark lines, lines. Yeah, and for some reason it wants to go to the, it wants to go to this one, and this is not what we want to do. So we're going to go edit data. So we're going to edit group location and data, and we want to put this in, or this is the range C6 to C9, and we want this to go to, let me make sure the instructions are correct. We want this to go to G6 to G9. For some reason it's dropping it D. Normally it would have just taken care of it for me. Sometimes we have to come at it a different way. So G6 to G9, using this edit data on the Sparkline tab. So click OK. And then now it's still not showing anything, which is really bizarre. So we should have some sparklines in here. So let's just check this one more time. Edit C6 to C9. All right, or C6 to F9. Oh, that's why. C6 to F9. Fix that. Then G6 to G9. There we go. That's what we should have. Okay, so we've got that part in. Then we are going to the chart Q1. Okay, so Q1 through Q4. So I'm just going to read this. For the patient visit, the range, use the quick analysis tool to add line spark lines to the range G6 to G9 to chart Q1 through Q4. We got that. For the stack column chart, we're going to add a legend to the bottom and then add an offset center outer shadow. So let's go to the chart. So clicking on the chart, we are going to add a legend to the bottom of the chart. So over here on the right, once you click on the chart and have the chart selected, you're going to see the data that it's referencing. And then we're going to come over here to the right, and then we're going to go down to the legend. We're going to turn that on and then click that black arrow next to the word legend. And then we're going to put this across the bottom to look like that. And then we have another step. So we have got the legend on there. And then we're going to add an offset center outer shadow to the plot area. Okay, so the plot area is this area around the bars where we have our lines, and it references our axes. And so what we're going to do is we're going to click in this plot area. See if I highlight over it too. It says plot area. We're going to click on that till we get the plot dots around the plot area, which is up here for the top max line down to the minimum line. And we are going to add an offset center outer shadow. So back here, we're going to come up here to the ribbon, chart design, and let's go to format. And then we are going to go over here in the shape styles to shape effects, shadow. And then what was the last part? I have to check my paper because I can't go back to the instructions for you. And we're going to do the center outer. So in the outer gallery, we're going to look for the one that says center. And if you hover over it, it should tell you offset. Where's the center? There we go. Center. So shadow, outer, gallery, center. There we go, just like that. And so now we should have a shadow around that. Okay. When we've got, in step 12 is our last step, Leela also wants to make it easy to view the patient visit data and stacked column chart at the same time. So we're going to zoom the worksheet to 80% and then save it as a custom view called visits. So here's our worksheet. We're going to come down here to the bottom. You can also do this on the page. Let's see, the page layout, but I prefer to do it down here on the bottom right where we have our zoom. And so I'm going to zoom to 80%. And then we are going to set a custom view and call it visits. So the next thing we're going to do, is do the custom view. And to do that, we're going to go to the View tab. Now we could have zoomed here as well. We have a whole gallery on Zoom. I always go to the bottom right. But now we're going to call this 80% view a custom view. So we're going to open this and then we're going to call it visits. So go ahead and add, and we're going to call it capital VISITS. Leave everything checked that was already checked, and then we're going to say OK. And now we have a custom visit. So let's try it out. Let's make sure it's stuck. So if we make this a little bigger, not here, but I'm going to zoom back up to say 110. So if we zoom it up to 110, up here in the view, over here on the left, we have our custom views. See our visits one? We're going to go ahead and show it, and you're going to see it's going to shrink that down. And that's how we know we got that set at 80%. All right, well, that's all there is in this workbook. Make sure you save it, check your final figures, close the workbook, exit Excel, and then submit it, and then reach out to me if you have any issues with the Cengage grader reading your file incorrectly.